Drums keep pounding a rhythm to the brain. La da 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 dee, da 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 da. Drums keep pounding a rhythm to the brain. La da 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 dee, da 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 da. Drums keep pounding a rhythm to the brain. La da 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 dee, da 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 da. Drums keep pounding a rhythm to the brain. La da 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 dee, da 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 da. Charleston was once a rage, History has been that stage, Mini skirts, current days, Teeny boppers, a newborn king, Drums keep pounding a rhythm to the brain. La da 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 dee, da 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 da. Drums keep pounding a rhythm to the brain. La da 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 dee, da 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 da. And the beat goes on, the beat goes on. And the beat goes on, the beat goes on, and the beat goes on, the beat goes on.
In the summer of 16, was it love or nicotine that made us mellow on the 31st? It was penny paradise, just a pretty little lie, and it hit me when I saw you. Hand in hand, cold harbor line, never take it easy on the PDA. I don't miss you, least not that way, but someone better want me like that someday. Shoulder to shoulder, smile with the bricks and shine. But you were that kind when you were mine. Jady and Cola, don't even have to try. But you were that guy when you were mine. When you were mine. By the Red Sea, made to measure. I'm shook, but you look good together. I had my hesitation, but I just can't hate them. You're breaking all the rules down Electric Avenue. Oh, I've never seen too many move. Hand in hand, cold harbor lane. Never take it easy on the PDA. I don't miss you, least not that way, but someone better want me like that someday. Shoulder to shoulder, smile with the bricks and shine. But you were that kind when you were mine. Jady and Cola, don't even have to try. But you were that guy. need you in rotation. Now I only want it more. Cause in my imagination, you take my hand and then we're rolling on the floor. So good, so nice. You find me where the lights are low. So good, you're my vibe. No, I can't stand you no more. Temptation, won't you set me free? Make my fantasy come true.
A huge, warm Monmouthshire welcome to you all. In exactly 2 minutes, I will be handing over to our fantastic First Minister, Vaughan Gething, who has already been out on the doorstep with us here in Monmouthshire countless times, working hard to win Monmouthshire back for Labour. What a county! What a home we are blessed with. Our towns, villages and scattered farms bring together the warmest, most open-minded people I have ever had the privilege of meeting. The sense of community, the sense that it is our duty and our privilege to stand by each other through thick and thin. And boy, have we needed that sense of community to stand hand in hand with each other in the last 14 years. They have been such testing times under the Tories. Living standards down, wages down, food bank usage up, mortgage rates up, energy bills up. If the Conservatives get another 5 years, nothing will change. The downward spiral will continue. As Monmouthshire's Labour candidate for Westminster, it is unbelievably uplifting to hear and feel the incredible passion for change in this room. Believe me, we are going to need it. The task ahead of us is huge, and we cannot, for a moment, be complacent. What that means is that we have to win Monmouthshire if we want to see Keir at the head of a UK Labour government. But let's not underestimate our sitting MP. For 19 years, he has not in fact always been sitting on his hands. He's been happy to raise them for some very odd ideas indeed. No, never underestimate the opposition. To give him his due, he has embedded himself in the local community, which is just as well, as in a few weeks' time, he's going to be finding himself spending a great deal more time here. Because this is a seat that the conviction in this room tells us all that we can win, we must win, and we will win. Please put your hands together and give a very warm Monmouthshire welcome to Vaughan Gething, our First Minister.
Wel, bore da, diolch I bawb am fod yma heddi. And thank you, Catherine, a fantastic Welsh Labour candidate who will make a fantastic Welsh Labour Member of Parliament. And this is the moment that we have been waiting for. A moment when the longed-for tidal wave of justice can rise up and hope and history rhyme. July the 4th represents a moment at last where we can unleash Wales's full potential. A moment when hope and history rhyme. And the UK can once again be led by a Prime Minister and a party that believes in public service. A leader who believes in the potential of our communities, who respects and understands devolution and has a plan to breathe fresh life into our politics. Mein amser am newid. But we have to work for it. We can, though, today allow ourselves to imagine a new Wales, no longer held back by 14 years of Tory economic vandalism and chaos. Chaos that has pushed Welsh families to the edge. Rocketing mortgages, sky-high energy bills, insecure employment. With spiralling food costs, the Tories have turned the weekly shop from a simple family tradition into a time of real anxiety. Uncertainty stalks our streets and hobbles the ambition of young people for their future. At every turn over these last 14 years, the Tories have tried to block Welsh Labour from delivering transformational change for our country. They slashed our budget, blocked our legislation, and day after day after day, they put politics above people. I plaid, cyn I glad. Treating politics as a game, not a route to opportunity, hope, and security. Just a few months ago, Rishi Sunak wouldn't even pick up the phone to Mark Drakeford to help save thousands of steelworkers' jobs in Port Talbot, Trostre, Shotton and Llanwern. But Sunak wants you to save his job. But he wouldn't lift a finger or the phone to save yours. I travelled to India to meet with Tata because as the First Minister, I will always stand up for Wales. Rishi Sunak and the Tories will never stand up for Wales. Despite often fighting with one hand tied behind our backs, we have done and will do everything in our power to work for Wales. Mewn undod, mae nerth. Our sense of togetherness goes to the very heart of our collective efforts and ambition to improve our country. Despite 14 years of swimming against the Tory tide, let me give you just 6 changes that we have made to make Wales a stronger, fairer and greener country. We have protected free prescriptions, repealed anti-trade union legislation, rolled out universal free school meals in our primary schools, introduced a young person's guarantee with jobs, education, training or apprenticeships. We're leading the world on recycling and the climate agenda, and we have led the UK by passing domestic violence legislation. I could go on. In the COVID-19 pandemic, I was proud to work with Mark, where we put people before profit. Whilst the Tories partied in Downing Street, we were delivering the fastest vaccine rollout in the UK. This is testament to what we can achieve together, even in the face of a hostile UK Tory government. Just imagine how much more we could achieve with Keir and a UK Labour government working in partnership with our Welsh Labour government. Sending Catherine and as many Welsh Labour MPs as possible to Westminster would mean a step change for Wales. It means we can build on what we've protected and focus on our potential for our future. A true partnership between governments that drive the improvements that our country needs after 14 years of Tory decline. I'm proud to lead a listening Labour government. And today, launching the 6 steps to change Wales and bring a step change to Wales and Britain shows Labour listening to people's priorities. 2 Labour governments working together for Wales and for Britain's future. There is a clear choice at this election. More chaos with the Tories or a new start with Labour. In Wales, Labour has a proud history of standing up for our communities. Today, Keir is offering hope for a better tomorrow. Gobeith am ddyfodol gwell. It is time to let that hope and history rhyme. Nawr yw'r amser. It is time for 2 Labour governments working together for your future, delivering on our nation's promise. It is time for young people to feel hopeful for a brighter future right here at home. It is time to win. Diolch yn fawr iawn.
Diolch yn fawr, thank you. 14 years we've been waiting for this. 14 years in the Vale of Glamorgan, across Wales, past the Severn and throughout the UK, we've been carrying the untold stories of Tory decline with us. The untold story of Stephen in Gibbonstown, waiting not just for his kids to get a flying start here in Wales, but in the hope of a growing national economy, a soft landing, a decent job for his kids. The untold story of pensioners in Cantwit Major saving with the deepest dignity of daily sacrifice, only to be brought to the brink by Liz Truss's mini-budget. The untold stories of an entire generation of business owners putting their life's chips on the table, their bursting optimism on the table, only for it to be swept off by Conservative inflation. Untold stories no more. In 35 days, it's time for us to voice our national story. Yes, the story of 14 years of Conservative economic decline. Prices up, taxes up, wages down, hopes crushed. But the story also of a clean new break, of a national economic renewal. Not the false choice between progress in our economy and protecting workers' dignity, but as we've shown in Wales with a social partnership, a total focus on prosperity with dignity. Not the unfunded chaos of Rishi Sunak's latest weekend idea. No, the solid discipline of a robust economic policy. And not just the growth of GDP figures or a few pence in the pound, but the ink of solid economic stability with which to write our individual stories, our collective family stories of security, of joy, and of achievement. That is the change that a UK Labour government led by Keir Starmer can bring, giving our children and their children the great gift of growth. Working with our Welsh Labour government once more in service of the whole country. Diolch yn fawr.
Each and every one of us owes something to our NHS, founded right here in Wales by Labour. We're fiercely proud of this living example of our values. I can remember the state of the NHS the last Labour government inherited. Cash-strapped, soaring waiting times, NHS staff raising funds themselves to provide essential services. In spite of 14 years of Tory misrule, including the devastating impact of a decade of austerity, our Welsh Labour government has continued to invest in and protect health and social care in Wales. Every day, we're working hard to deliver the promises we made to people across Wales. Our Welsh Labour government has kept prescriptions free for everyone in Wales. We've ensured better, faster access to new treatments via the groundbreaking New Treatment Fund. And we're investing in our NHS workforce of the future, working with trade unions, not against them, as we've seen from the Tories. But just imagine how much more we could achieve with a UK Labour government and Keir Starmer as our Prime Minister, working hand in hand with our Welsh Labour team led by my friend Vaughan Gething. A true team approach to changing our country and renewing our NHS. With a UK Labour government in Westminster, our Welsh Labour government led by Vaughan, we will continue to prioritise spending on health and care services. Welsh Labour will train record numbers of doctors and nurses, protect free prescriptions for all, provide more services through GP surgeries and pharmacies, speeding up access and freeing up hospital pressures, open a new medical school in North Wales, reduce long waiting times and bringing care closer to home. But we cannot just hope for change, we have to vote for change on July the 4th.
Friends, the first time I ever left the inner city constituency of Tottenham, I was 9 years old, and it was Wales that I came to. I can't convey how wonderful it is to be here again with Keir Starmer and Vaughan Gething. It means a lot. Today, the world's challenges are Britain's challenges, and Britain's challenges are indeed the world's. We see this in our cross-border crime, which blights Britain's streets. From my home in Tottenham to right here in Abergavenny, organised crime gangs exploit the vulnerable, not just in Wales, but right across Britain. And, of course, across the continent, creating modern slaves, running drug gangs, and tricking people onto dangerous small boats that arrive on Britain's shores. The numbers of people crossing the Channel in small boats has surged under the Tories, whilst tens of thousands remain in asylum hotels, permanently in limbo, with no prospect of removal due to the government's failed, illegal migration bill. And this not only causes disorder across our country, but as Shadow Foreign Secretary, I've seen it from the other side. It takes more than £3 billion off of our overseas aid budget, which would stop them coming in the first place. The Rwanda scheme the government has put forward is nothing more than a shameless gimmick. It's a gimmick that fails on its own terms. At maximum, it will only remove 1% of small boat crossings a year. This will never, ever deter organised crime. Only our leader, Keir Starmer, previously this country's chief prosecutor, and our wonderful Shadow Home Secretary, Yvette Cooper, have a plan to smash the gangs and prosecute serious organised crime. Labour will stop the chaos, will bust the backlogs and rebuild our broken asylum system. As one of our 6 steps, we will create a new elite border security command with a new border security commander with hundreds of new specialist investigators working here in the UK and across Europe to support it. And we will reform our system to end hotel use and clear the Tory asylum backlog. Fixing the backlog and allowing more overseas development aid to be spent overseas, our plan for Britain is one that will secure Britain's borders, delivering here, of course, in Wales and right across the UK. After 14 years of Conservative chaos, we are ready for change. The Labour government here in Wales has achieved so much in spite of the Tories in power. But imagine what we could achieve working together with a Labour government in Cardiff and a Labour government finally in Westminster. These steps towards our missions show what we can do. The choice facing the public could not be more stark. Thank you.
Diolch o galon. Families across Wales are paying the price for Tory failures on energy bills. Household budgets have been hit harder here by the energy crisis than any major advanced country. The Tories have fallen asleep at the wheel, squandering Britain's advantage on clean energy, leaving us dangerously exposed to global energy markets controlled by dictators like Putin. From floating offshore wind projects in Pembroke to new nuclear in my home of Ynys Môn, the people of Wales have seen projects fail and hopes dashed, all at the hand of this Conservative government. Only Labour has a plan to cut bills, create jobs and deliver energy security for Britain once and for all. A UK Labour government, led by Keir Starmer, will turbocharge plans already underway in Wales to invest in clean energy infrastructure, ensuring that energy profits created in Wales stay in Wales. A UK Labour government working with our Welsh Labour government and building on the work of Trydan Gwerth Cymru. A UK Labour government will take back control of our energy supply. We'll create Great British Energy, a publicly owned clean power generation company, paid for by a proper windfall tax on oil and gas giants who have made record profits from soaring bills. Our Team Labour government will bring much-needed change to energy. Energy bills will be cut for good, saving families hundreds of pounds a year. We'll create thousands of new, highly skilled, well-paid, sustainable jobs in our green industries, rebuilding the strength of our industrial heartlands. We'll guarantee Britain's energy security so that we're not dependent on dictators like Putin. That is real change. That can only happen with Labour. Diolch.
The Tories cannot be trusted to keep our communities safe. On their watch, neighbourhood policing has been slashed and over 90% of crimes are going unsolved, leaving more and more criminals to walk free and victims without justice. Antisocial behaviour blights our communities, making too many people's lives a misery, with over 20 million people witnessing or directly experiencing antisocial behaviour every year. We have been thoroughly let down by 14 years of Tory rule, and our country desperately needs change. And that change can only come with a Labour government. We know that safer streets make better communities, and where the Tories have failed our communities, Labour stands ready to serve. I've spent my whole career working in the criminal justice system, and I'm incredibly proud to be the Labour and Cooperative Police and Crime Commissioner for South Wales. My absolute focus and mission is going to be on tackling crime and, importantly, the causes of crime. And in our leader, I know we have a man who shares the commitment to making our country safer. Keir Starmer has spent his career prosecuting crime gangs, keeping criminals off our streets, protecting our public. As Prime Minister, Keir will build on Welsh Labour's incredible support for community policing by putting 13,000 extra police and PCSOs on our streets. Working together, a UK Labour government and our Welsh Labour government will halve serious violent crime in a decade, tackle antisocial behaviour and put more police on the beat. We know that Britain deserves better, and Labour stands ready to be the change our country needs. Diolch yn fawr.
Education is one of the major factors in determining a child's life chances. When the Tories slashed Labour's school building programme in England, Welsh Labour launched the biggest new school and college building programme since the 1960s. When the Tories scrapped Labour's support for students, Welsh Labour maintained EMA payments in Wales. And when the Tories cut support for working families, Welsh Labour continued to fund free school breakfasts. Make no mistake, the decision to invest in our children's future is a political choice. None of this would have happened without our Welsh Labour government and its commitment to unlocking opportunity for all of us in Wales. Working in partnership with a UK Labour government, we can go even further. Continuing to invest in children's futures and tearing down the barriers that hold people back. Labour will recruit new teachers in key subjects to prepare children for life, work and the future, paid for by ending tax breaks for private schools. Delivering on our historic mission to ensure that everyone can get on in life, regardless of their background. This true Labour partnership will allow us to deliver on this mission. Diolch.
Thank you, Jill, and thank you to all of our fabulous Welsh Labour candidates fighting for a UK Labour government. I'm hugely proud to be Labour's Shadow Welsh Secretary because our party is rooted in Wales and our dedication to representing all of its people is absolute. Labour is back in the service of working people, under Keir Starmer's leadership, working closely with Vaughan and our Welsh Labour government. And everyone in this room knows that Wales is brimming with potential. We are an outward-looking nation. We punch way above our weight in culture and sport. And unlike Rishi Sunak, I am very aware about who is playing in the Euros this year because I was at the match where we didn't qualify. But we are proud of our roots in industry. We are ambitious for the future, fuelled by the innovation I have seen up and down our nation. But it's being held back by 14 years of chaos and incompetence from a UK Conservative government. So our first steps, launching today, are the antidote. I want to speak directly to everyone across Wales who is thinking who they will vote for on the 4th of July. If you want to see the economy grow after years of stagnation, if you are struggling to pay for your food and your energy bills, if you want an NHS that is fit for the future and opportunities for your children, if you want safe streets and secure borders, then our changed Labour Party is proudly for you. We have a once-in-a-generation opportunity to deliver a Labour government at both ends of the M4. And as we've heard, two governments working together to deliver the positive change in people's day-to-day lives. That is the prize we fight for and the privilege we can earn. And with that, I'd like to introduce someone who embodies what we in Labour are fighting for at this election. A veteran who has served our country for 23 years, a proud Welshman who lives in Bruce with his family, a lifelong Conservative voter who has become utterly worn out with Conservative chaos and failure. Now voting Labour for the first time. Because he believes, like me, that our first steps can restore hope and deliver change. I am delighted to introduce to you Michael Hatter.
Hello, my name is Michael Hatter and I live in Roos with my wife and my children. So I've voted Conservative all of my adult life. But at the next general election, I'll be voting Labour. I joined the Royal Air Force when I was 18 and I retired in May last year, and I served just over 23 years. Throughout my entire military career, I voted Conservative, both in my time served in the ranks and as a commissioned officer. But doing so just became harder and harder. After I saw, I felt and I experienced the damage done by Tory cuts, including and especially to veterans. The final straw to me, and what's brought me back to what feels like home, was Partygate. It was so clear they don't support people like me, like us, and we're still suffering, so it's time for change. Keir Starmer has brought the Labour Party back on track. As a veteran and a parent that wants my children to grow into adulthood, able to make their own democratic choices of where and how they choose to serve their community, I know that we'll be looked after if Labour win. I feel safe and secure to put my faith in Keir, Vaughan Gething and Labour ahead of the next general election. And it gives me great pleasure to introduce our next speaker, leader of the Labour Party, Keir Starmer.
Thank you. Thank you, Michael. That was a really powerful address from you, and it's a big thing to come up here and say what you just said, and it means a huge amount. To make the big decision to change the party that you vote for as a lifelong Tory voter is a really big thing. For me, it vindicates all the hard work of the last 4.5 years. I was determined to change this Labour Party and put it back in the service of working people. And your words are so important to me, to all of our candidates, to all of our staff, to the whole Labour movement, when we hear you saying lifelong Tory voter. I've had enough. I'm voting Labour. Thank you, Michael. Vaughan, thank you for your words. Thank you for your leadership here in Wales. It's been really good to work with you so far in my position as Leader of the Opposition. I'm really looking forward to a new partnership where we can both deliver together for Wales. Thank you, Vaughan. And thank you all for that incredibly warm reception when we walked in. It was fantastic to see everybody in the room, such a great feeling. And Abergavenny, what an amazingly beautiful place, what a beautiful constituency. We arrived last night, the sun was shining, it was absolutely stunning. Not long ago, Vic and I and the kids were at Cull. We holidayed up there, and you know, it's a really beautiful part of Wales. And many people in this room will have been to the Bear Pub, I'm sure, in Cull. The food there is, if you haven't been, make sure you go before you leave this part of the world. And as Caroline Harris will attest, Vic and I holiday in Wales every year. We go down to Swansea, she looks after us, and last year we're in the Gower. We're in Oxford, actually. It was really, really beautiful. So I love being here, and it's fantastic to be back here today in Wales. And what an opportunity, what a chance to launch our campaign, because Rishi Sunak has finally called the general election. He's given us our chance to take our case to the country. And I don't know about you, but I think Wales has been waiting for this general election for a very, very long time. And we in the Labour Party have been working for and waiting for this general election for a very, very long time. And if just over a week ago Rishi Sunak thought he was laying a careful trap of an ambush, he didn't catch us. He caught himself in his own ambush. So now we get the chance. And what went through, I think, all of those speeches this morning is this strong sense that now is the time for change. Change and hope for a better future, with that sense of national renewal, taking our communities, our countries forward for the future. And so I say to you, if you're a family that's been struggling with the cost of living for a long time now, and I mean struggling across Wales, struggling elsewhere, if you're a business that's been absolutely up against it these past few years, if you've been serving your country or serving your communities, then this election is for you. Because this is the chance to end the chaos and the division, to turn the page and to rebuild Wales and rebuild our entire country together, to elect a government, as Vaughan said, would serve working people here in Wales and make that connection. A government in Westminster and a government here in Wales working together and delivering for Wales. Because I don't know about you, but I think we've all had enough of 14 years of chaos and division. Chaos and division, feeding chaos and division. And it feels like we're spinning round and round in circles and getting absolutely nowhere. And there's a cost to that. There's a human cost to that. Go to Port Talbot. Talk as I did to those that are facing the prospect of losing their job in the steel industry. And I say to Rishi Sunak, go and look those people in the eyes as I've done. And you'll see their anxiety about the damage that's being done by a government that doesn't have a plan, a government that's too divided to take our country and our industries forward. Go and talk to those workers, those families. Years and years of investment, skills that they've put in. facing now an uncertain future. That is the human cost that they are paying for a government that is divided, chaotic, and for a Prime Minister who won't pick up the phone to the former First Minister here in Wales to do a blind thing about those jobs. I've been there, I've looked them in the eyes, and I've told those workers I will fight for every single job that they have there and for the future of steel here in Wales. We must fight it. Because this is a change election. There are two futures out there on the 4th of July. Two paths that we can take. It's a very, very clear choice. And we need to spell it out. More chaos and division, because they're not going to change. It'll be more, 14 years already, another 5 years of chaos and division, non-delivery and failure. Or turn the page, hope and unity, and rebuild our communities and our countries with Labour. A government that works for you, that ties up no more conflict between the First Minister here and the Prime Minister in London, but both working together for Wales. Imagine what could be delivered for Wales with that combination of two governments. This is a huge prize. To elect a government that wants devolution to work, that doesn't want the conflict, will get around the table, will work together and every day deliver for the working people of Wales. So the first thing we have to do is end that chaos and that division. And the good news is you don't have to put up with it anymore. A vote for Labour is a vote to turn the page, to change our country. We've changed the Labour Party, put it back in the service of working people. We are humbly asking permission for the opportunity to change our country and put it back in the service of working people. Now, I know that will be difficult. I'm not going to stand here and say it'll be easy. It will be difficult, tireless work. But I've never shied away from the difficult. When I was heading up the Crown Prosecution Service, we had to change it. It was difficult. Many people said, don't do it, slow down. But we changed. When I worked in Northern Ireland, it was difficult work. We were trying to change the police service so that it served all communities. It was difficult, painstaking work, but we did it. And here in the Labour Party, we had to change our party and put it back in the service of working people. That wasn't easy. Lots of people said, don't do it that way, don't go so fast. But we did it. We'll never shy away from that. Because driving through this, for me, has always been country first, party second. And the opportunity is now there to work together to deliver for Wales. And there's no brighter future without Wales, because I believe that the solidarity of working people is not just our identity, it's our argument. It's the most powerful force for uniting all four nations across the United Kingdom. So this is the change that we must bring about. It is difficult. It is ambitious. And like any ambition, you need first steps. You need to set out what the big thing is that you want to change, and what the first steps are going to be to realise that change. And that's why I'm proud to set out our first steps here today. As you would expect, ruthlessly well prepared, thought through, ready to deliver, fully costed and fully funded. which is more than can be said from the ideas that the Tories are sort of flinging on the table on a daily basis, or rummaging round in the toy box of bad ideas and putting one on the table every day, unfunded and uncosted. So step one, economic stability. And in 2024, it feels odd to have to say to you that stability is change. But it is. That's what we haven't had, stability. Because stability is the foundation of growth. We won't get economic growth without stability. And we all know that if you lose control of the economy, it's working people who will pay the price. Liz Truss lost control of the economy. And in Wales, working people on a mortgage are now paying an average of £240 more each and every month. Rishi Sunak says, we've turned a page. Liz Truss says, put the people who helped me in the House of Lords. Rishi Sunak says, OK. And in Wales, each and every day, families paying hundreds of pounds more as a reminder of the cost they are paying for the damage that the Tories did. Tata Steel are paying price. We have to invest if we want a future of steel in this country. We have to invest in all of the sectors that need it. That's why we want to set up a national wealth fund. Other countries have it. We can drive our industry forward, give the growth that we need, the businesses, the partnership that will help us deliver. And that's why economic stability is step one and will always be step one. Step two, working with Vaughan, bringing down those waiting lists. Too many people on waiting lists. And we'll do that. It's fully funded, fully costed. We're going to get rid of the non-dom tax status properly. That's the tax that allows the super rich to be here in this country, making their money, but not pay their tax here. I don't agree with that. I think you should be paying your tax here, and we'll make sure that people do. And we'll also crack down on those that are avoiding their tax. And with that money, we'll bring down the waiting lists. And that means we can invest in England, in the NHS, 40,000 appointments each and every week. What a difference that will make. But that, of course, as you all know, means more money for the NHS here in Wales, so that in Wales we can build on the work that's been done. Now, this matters to me. My mum was a nurse. She was a really proud nurse. There are some fantastic pictures of her in her nursing uniform. Such pride. We saw this yesterday, by the way, as well. We're in Worcester at the college there where they're training up the next generation of nurses. I saw the same pride on the young people there that I saw in the pictures of my mum. It was her livelihood. But of course, it became her lifeline because she was extremely ill for most of her life, and literally her life depended on the care that the NHS gave her time and time and time again in her particular case. And there are other cases in this room as I look around. So it matters to me. It matters to Vaughan because, of course, the NHS saved his life earlier in his life. So it matters to me. And the idea now of us being able to work together to make sure the NHS is at its very best, capable of delivering, not just back on its feet, but fit for the future. Of course we're proud of the NHS. Roots right here. We look back with great pride. Every year in the Labour movement, we celebrate the NHS. It's one of the greatest achievements of any government ever, that Labour achievement. I want not just to look back proudly, although I want to do that. I want to look forward and be able to say that the NHS that we will build will be there for the next 70 years for others to rely on it in the way that Vaughan and I and my mum relied on it. Step 3, Border Security Command. Now, the government has lost control of our borders. Lost control of our borders. 10,000 people this year alone, have crossed the Channel in small boats. 10,000. That is a record. So for all the rhetoric, that is a record number coming across. Nobody but nobody should be making that dangerous journey across the Channel. Nobody but nobody. And it's a test for all governments as to how they respond to it. And would-be governments. It's a test for the current government and for us. What is your response to this serious problem? Exploited, vulnerable people being put in boats to go across the Channel by gangs that are making huge amounts of money from them. And there's a choice, as there is in pretty well everything political. A choice. What is your response? You can either have a gimmick or a serious response. What has the government gone for? A gimmick. The Rwanda scheme. Now, Rishi Sunak never believed in it. When he first saw it as Chancellor, he didn't back it. He tried to block it. He didn't think it would work. I'm not surprised, because if the numbers going to Rwanda are less than 1% of those who arrive by small boat, then 99+% are not going. And if you don't think that the criminal gangs running this trade are telling that to the people they're exploiting, then you don't know criminal gangs. It was never going to work. He knew it wouldn't work. But what did he do? He caved in to his party. He didn't stick to his guns. He caved in. £600 million later of taxpayers' money, it's not working. And what's he done? He's called an election before it can be tested. Weakness upon weakness. In the Labour Party, this changed Labour Party, we go for serious solutions. This is a serious problem. So, a border security command. This is a new elite force with a new commander, bringing together MI5, the police, national security agencies, Crown Prosecution Service. An elite force, a new command with new resources and new powers, drawing on counter-terrorism powers. Because when I was Chief Prosecutor, I had to work with police and law enforcement across Europe to bring down terrorist gangs. These were sophisticated terrorist gangs. And we did it, and we brought them down, and they're now serving time. I will never accept that somehow the only gangs that apparently we can't take down by the same means are the vile gangs running this smuggling trade. I'll never accept that. We will break it. Step 4, Great British Energy, a publicly owned company. This is a company owned by the taxpayer, making money for the taxpayer and investing in clean British power. And I'll tell you why we need it. Because we've been overly exposed by the terrible decisions of this government. 10 years or so ago, they said, cut the green crap. Remember that? Cut the green crap. And they stopped investing in renewables. They stopped the insulation that we need on our homes. And they left us exposed to the sort of challenges that we have internationally. Exposed. And so when Ukraine was invaded and Putin invaded, we were more exposed than other countries, and you're paying more on your bill because of the approach that they took. Bills are up. We've got to turn that around. It is a challenge. We'll rise to that challenge. We've lost 10 years because of the approach of the Tories. But it is also probably the single biggest opportunity that we have, not just for lower bills, but for the next generation of jobs. And Vaughan and I went to Holyhead Port just a few weeks ago now to look at the potential of that port for floating offshore wind. And we have a plan to transform that port, to make sure it can handle floating offshore wind. Floating offshore wind is the next generation. It's going to be the game changer. And some country is going to get ahead and be the leader in the world. We've got the skills, we've got the potential, we've got the ports. We need to take advantage of that. And what we got from this government is such a lack of direction that just as all the other countries are getting into the race, they're in the changing room. Not prepared to let that happen. The race is on. I want to be not just in that race, but as you'd expect with me, I want to win that race. And I think we can win that race. Step 5, tackling antisocial behaviour. Now, I don't know how many times people have said to me, when I was a prosecutor, since I've been in politics, Keir, antisocial behaviour it's low level. It's low level crime. Shouldn't really concentrate on it. I don't want to hear that ever again. I don't want to hear that ever again. It blights the lives of so many people. Whether they're living in a huge community, a small community, a middle-sized community. If you feel that you can't open your front door after dark, if you feel you can't walk down your own street or walk around your own community, if you feel, as some of our young people do, that they can't even walk down their high streets without antisocial behaviour, that has a huge impact on people's lives and how they feel about taking themselves forward. And, of course, on our businesses. It is not low level. And that's why we'll have 13,000 new neighbourhood police, new in their area, working with their communities and dealing with antisocial behaviour. Because I am determined that we will have a safe and secure environment for every single person in Wales and across the United Kingdom to live in so that they can thrive, take themselves forward and build the lives that they deserve. Step 6, working with the Welsh Government to ensure that we have and are able through our education to prepare our young children, our young people, for the lives they're actually going to live and the work they're actually going to do. Now, I was the first in my family to go to university. I know the power that education can have on a young person's life. And I want every single young person, wherever they come from, whatever their background, to feel that success belongs to them. And Vaughan shares this approach. And Welsh Labour is already doing so much. The biggest, I think, school and college building programme since the 1960s. That's the investment already happening here in Wales. Imagine how much more we could do with a government in Westminster, working with a government in Wales and delivering for our children the future that they deserve. So 6 steps, 1 card. Make sure you've got yours. We're going to take this to every single doorstep across Wales to make our case for a changed future. 1 card, 6 steps. Wales and Westminster working together. Turning the page. A change election where we can stop the chaos and division, put an end to it. We can turn the page and rebuild Wales and the United Kingdom together, working together for the future. That's the way forward. That's the choice. Vote Labour. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.